We are in the Edge of Eternity waiting room. Hi guys, welcome back to Casting Commons, the show where we talk and discuss all things Pauper. I don't know why I went really weird there. I'm your host, Teasdale, and this is my co-host, the Fairy Macabre himself, Reese.
Hello.
Before we start, do not forget to support us by giving us 5 stars on Spotify, giving us a like and subscribe on YouTube, and of course, following us on Twitter, while also joining the Discord as well. Great way to submit hot takes, be part of giveaways, and of course, talk Pauper with us. I've just absolutely hit my hand off my desk. Ow. So, we excited for Edge of Eternities?
Yeah, looks spicy. Looks like we're going to get a lot of cards to shake up the format, or at least attempt to shake up the format.
Yeah, I agree. I'm pretty excited to... I've seen a lot of people say it's very much like Neon Dynasty sort of vibes, like, you know, like obviously... Which I think is pretty an interesting, like, adjacent thing, like obviously a Magic set that's a similar take, but in a different environment, but then also shakes it up with Synth, Moonsaker Hacker, all them sort of cards that's just actually done pretty well in.
Yeah. Yeah, if we get something like that, to be fair, like those two cards even just you've mentioned are basically mainstays in the format. And then there's stuff like Reckoner's Bargain as well, it's like sort of add-ons / mainstays. Yeah, it'll be pretty sweet if we get some stuff to stick.
Fingers crossed. I just wanted to do a quick Pauper thought of the week. Wanted to talk about one of these deck lists for one of the IPTs. Basically, because it's pre-release weekend last weekend, they're now, the way it works now is as soon as the pre-release is gone on the Friday, you can effectively play the cards from then. So technically last weekend in paper events, they were legal. And we have a IPT in Parma, and it was 128 players with 7 rounds of Swiss and then a top 8. And the winner was Tommaso Loss, who we've seen in and out of all these Pauper-Geddon-y Italian scenes, does really well. I think they've played Dredge previously, I think, from memory. But in this particular instance, they've decided to play a Flickertron. They're playing Mysidian Elder as their Wincon, which is not new or out. It's just instead of the Murmur Mystic, but they've got one here, one Murmur Mystic. But the main thing is what they've done is they've cut Muldrifter. They usually run like 3 to 4 Muldrifters. This list is playing 0. They're not playing any Ephemerates. They are just playing 4 Ghostly Flicker. And instead of Muldrifter, they're playing 4 Cryogen Relic, which is the new card from Edge of Eternities, which is the 1 and a blue. When this artifact enters or leaves the battlefield, draw a card, and then you can pay 1 and a blue to sack this artifact to put a stun counter on a tapped creature. Yeah.
I really like this list. I think it's actually really cool. Obviously the no Ephemerate's weird, but Ephemerate in Tron sort of has that weird angle where it obviously flickers your creatures, but if you've just like got the artifacts, but like you can't flicker Prophetic Prisms and start drawing cards and stuff like that. Where obviously Ghostly Flicker does both. If you've got artifacts in play, it flickers them. If you've got creatures in play, it flickers them. And I think going down the Mysidian Elder plan also just works really well with that plan, because you can just Ghostly Flicker a wall and an Elder, and then get back to Ghostly Flicker and Ghostly Flicker the wall and the Elder, and it kills them so much faster than a Mystic would. Obviously, because you're making the Black Mage and then pinging every time, which then scales up every time because you've got an extra Black Mage. Yeah, it looks really sweet. I'm surprised he's still just playing 1 Mystic, to be honest, and hasn't just gone 3 Elders.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting one, right? Because obviously the Murmur Mystic itself sort of can stabilize the board a bit better.
Yeah, true.
And I think that's probably, like, Murmur Mystic kind of is this all-encompassing package where it'll stable the board and then eventually will win you the game.
Yeah.
Which I get behind, but Mysidian Elder also just kills them infinitely quicker, so you don't need to stabilize as much. You could probably just go off while fogging, breath weapon, pulsing, just to staying alive, and your natural spells and stuff will keep you alive, and then the exponential damage from the wizards will just kill them.
Yeah, especially when you've got like moment spaces and Weather the Storms in the main and the side. It's like you can sort of stabilize anyway. But I guess it is nice to have the Mystic. It just doesn't work as well with your main plan as the Elder would, because if you flicker it, it does essentially nothing.
I really like basically the 4 ghostly flickers and then the 12 flickerable artifacts. I think that's a real big shift, like 4 prisms, 4 refractors, and then 4 relics. Like, obviously, flickering a relic is incredibly strong. I found myself when I was playing against FAMs with Cryogen Relic and Muldrifter in, like, there were ghostly flicker and Muldrifters. I'm like, I know this is technically exactly the same as flickering a relic, but you want to flicker the relic because it's less susceptible to, well, removal.
Yeah.
So, like, it's just felt better than Muldrifter, so I'm not surprised this is, like, a leap. So, it's an interesting one, like, is literally the face of Pauper, which I would say for a lot of people is the happy fish. Is it time to be power crept by a ball?
Yeah, it is an interesting one. Like, as you say, with the flicker interaction, obviously flickering a relic is the exact same as flickering a Muldrifter. Or flickering 2 relics is the exact same as flickering 2 Muldrifters. But you get sort of that split cost where you can just play it for 2 early. Like a Muldrifter, you can play for 3 early, but then you're not flickering it late because it's dead. So you'd have had to like play Ephemerate and like wait till the turn you could get the Ephemerate so you can keep your guy in play.
Yep.
And then if they're just bolted in response, you sort of even like further away.
Yep.
Whereas, yeah, like you say, it's a lot less susceptible to removal and just draws the same number of cards and has just more utility because you have that mode that you can just sack it, get a card and stun something to, again, like stabilize the board a bit, give yourself some breathing room.
Which, in my obviously small testing with this card, the sack ability was surprisingly relevant in these decks. Like, you just want to obviously survive to do your thing, and most of these decks have some generic, degenerate thing they're trying to do, and sacrificing an artifact, this artifact obviously put a stun counter on it, is very relevant. Like, I was surprised by how often this came up. Like, I thought it was just like this add-on mode people would occasionally use, but
it seems pretty legit.
It came up way more than I thought, for sure.
Especially when there's decks like Terra and Elves and stuff in the format that either have big guys attacking you or want to tap the guys. Like, if you can snipe a Priest of Titanium when they don't have a Quirion or a Timberwatch, like the turn after they've attacked you, like, you sort of buy yourself a bit more time. Also, it pings them off Masidian Elder where Muldrifter doesn't. Yep.
Also an added bonus for sure. But yeah, I really like this this take on Flickertron for sure. I think I wouldn't be surprised if no Muldrifter and 4 Ghostly Flicker with the Relic becomes more mainstay for sure. It's a pretty sweet list. Obviously, you've still got the mystical teachings and the standard stuff that happens there, so it's pretty sweet. I'm definitely all for this list for sure. And congratulations to Tommaso with their 128 player win, sure. There wasn't really much other cards throughout, but obviously you're talking, I don't know when it was, this event, like a Friday or a Saturday. Like, you're talking hours after people have, opened these cards, for example. Like, it's definitely an interesting thing, and no surprise that they were the only person with new cards. And that's not to say, like, oh, look, Flickertron's the only deck that has new cards access into it, for example. He literally, most likely, is just stock at that point.
Especially when you're wanting 4 of something, if it's the day it's come out, it's pretty tough to just get them.
Yep.
Especially if loads of people are wanting them, for example.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, pretty sweet one. Anything else?
Yeah, definitely cool.
Does this mean you're going to start playing Flickertron then? Or we're not there yet? No.
No. I can't think of anything worse. Well, I can, but... yeah, no, not for me, but cool to see it sort of get new tools and develop.
100%.
Cool to see Masidian Elder in play as well. Obviously, that's from a recent set as well. Obviously, the sets are coming thick and fast now, but still nice to see Final Fantasy cards sneaking in.
Yeah, for sure. Anything else to add?
No, I'm happy for you to move on.
So just moving on a bit of admin before we dive into the full-blown episode. Do not forget, of course, to join the Discord. We are doing giveaways, etc. Card market credit is available in the draw if you are picked out for one of the hot takes. Play points as well from myself is part of that giveaway as well. We'll be drawing the next one in about the middle of August, just because it lines up with getting enough people in to do the hot takes. So please, if you're in the Discord, it's important to obviously get your hot takes in, and of course, just join the Discord to give us some of your hot takes. Mainly if you want to think, oh, your hot takes are absolutely garbage, I've got good hot takes, come bring them in. Put your money where your mouth is, sort of thing. That's what they say, right? That's a saying. Also, just a bit of tournament news. We're getting close to quite a lot of these. I think that some of them are a couple of weeks away. The Common Clash in Firestorm Games in Cardiff is at the 9th of August. It'll be a box for first place, and then if they get at least 32 players, they will have a Pauper Nationals invite, which is pretty sweet to see. Then you've also got the August 9th, the Upstate New York Pauper Open. Blech. I don't know why I couldn't say that one there, but that is the second one. This one is in Rochester, and again, in a brewery. So if you're that neck of the woods, just go. My selling point is a brewery. I think I may have a problem, but who knows. So yeah, check that out. Link is in the description. I believe there's only 15 tickets left for that, which is pretty cool. Definitely a very cool thing to see. Hopefully it sells out, because they have definitely been on a tear for sure. And the last one, the exciting one, of course, our friends at Recollect in Chester are hosting another Pauper event on the 16th of August. First place gets a Future Sight foil snuff out, which looks absolutely amazing. And then other prizes are obviously based on attendance. £15 entry. And yeah, it's going to be a good event. Definitely going to be a good event. Anything else to add before we move on to the 3 waiting room challenges?
No, I'm happy to crack on with the challenges. The Friday at the 25th, 58 players, so sort of average numbers for a Friday. First place was Rakdos Madness, second place was Mono Blue Terror, third was Mono Red Madness, fourth was Jund Wildfire, fifth was Grix Affinity, sixth and seventh were a pair of Flickertrons, and eighth was Mono Blue Terror. Then the near misses, ninth was Elves, and 10th was Fams. Obviously, yeah, the new cards weren't legal on Magic Online for these, so there's not going to be any new cards, so take as that what you will. A lot of these lists, to be fair, are just pretty stock anyway. The first, second, and third placed are all basically stock. Jund Wildfire is just, you don't know if it's stock or not. They've got that many sideboard cards in the main deck, it's hard to tell.
I guess the main one for that Jund Wildfire list is they've went to 2 Cracklands, 2 Toxins. That generally all I look at is, does it have Crackland and Toxin in? Yes. If not, it's got something else in.
Yeah.
Yeah, but...
the most interesting one for me is obviously Mogged in 5th, being back on the Grixis Affinity train. 3 Black Mage's Rod as well, but also 4 Chromatic Star making it back into the deck, which is pretty cool.
It seems to... I'm assuming it's for fixing purposes, because it's supporting 2 Rebukes as well, which is pretty interesting. The draw package is actually pretty good, which I kind of like, to be fair. It seems like it's very much trying to prepare itself for Edge of Eternity, because it's got 4 Thoughtcasts in, 4 bargains, and then only 2 offerings, which I can definitely see, as I think we talked about it last week when we were talking about Cryogen Relic. It sort of might move away from the sacrifice, like the bargains and the offerings, and move more focused on the blue base with the 4 Thoughtcasts. And it kind of seems like that's what they're sort of doing here, with the Rebukes and the Thoughtcasts in the main, and then obviously being only 2 offerings, which is pretty good.
Yeah, I guess you're pretty close to being able to go like straight up blue-black Affinity maybe, and just focus on Rod and Cryogen Relic. Obviously, you lose Galblast and a couple Crackland Shamans. Other than that, like, there's not really much missing. If you could, obviously, we've seen them replace Galblast before with Cast Downs. Yeah. We just need like a Metalcraft Disfigure. Then that would be perfect. They could just go straight blue-black. But yeah, pretty cool. Obviously, nice to see Star back in after such a long time, really. It was always a mainstay of the Affinity deck when it had an absolutely horrendous mana base. Now it's got Mon Horizon's perfect mana base. It's not as often seen.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting why like kind of made it there. It'd be interesting to speak to him, obviously, see why like was it just because he needed cheap things to play for Rod? Like, do you know what I mean? Like, what is the consensus for Star?
Yeah, it sort of works for both, right? He's also more towards the older style mana base. Like he's only got two blue-red bridges, 2 blue-black bridges, and 2 red-black bridges. So there's between 4 and 8 bridges missing.
Yeah.
And then just full 4 Great Furnace, 4 Seats, and 4 Vault of Whispers. So very like old school Affinity mana base.
Yeah.
Which then the Chromatic Star sort of looks a lot more appealing in that case.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess definitely obviously helps. It's a good time to be on it, I guess, with very little Gorilla Shamans in the metagame, for sure. So, yeah, pretty interesting. Clearly worked out for them. The only thing I'm going to touch on for this one was the sort of touch on the Flickertron as well. They're also on Mysidian Elder, no Murmur Mystic. But they are also running a 1-of Focus the Mind as well, which is pretty sweet. Sort of new card from Dragonstorm, which sort of flickers in and out. Pun not intended.
That's the 5 mana one, right?
Yeah, 5 mana, draw 3, discard a card instant, but it costs 2 less if you cast another spell this turn.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. To be fair, this list is sort of very much the transitional list to that list we just talked about from the IPT.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be surprised if we see more along that line, given this week we've just had 2 Flickertrons do well. Next week they get a really cool new tool, so...
Yeah. All Eyes on Me in 7th is just on their standard Flickertron list. They've sort of been playing the same sort of list for about a decade now. Yeah, always do pretty well with it. Always see that they're trophying with it, so good to see them finally get a breakthrough into the top 8. Always makes it miserable seeing Din roll the horror in the sideboard.
The final thing really I want to touch on is this 9th place Elves list. Back to the classic multicolored Elves. Also 4 Elvish Vanguard in the main, which is something we haven't seen in quite a while. Obviously being multicolored, basically you lose a lot of the Lamwire elf effects and most of the Mass Vandal Generous Ent stuff from the main, so this only has 1 Ent and 2 Vandals. And instead gains like the Birchflower Rangers, the Jesper Sentinels, the Elvish Vanguards, and Distant Melodies, as well as Cyborg cards, which, to be fair, like it hasn't really capitalized on that much. It's got 1 Dispel, 3 Blue Elemental Blasts, and then 2 Valakut Invokers. All the rest of the sideboard is just the standard green cards.
Yeah, it seems like a weird like halfway house. Like it almost, for me, I don't really see the benefit of Distant Melody. Like I get the card, like obviously it can draw a lot of cards for sure, but looking at this list, it's not really capitalizing on much. So like I wonder if you could go less so on the multicolored and still capitalize on the Mass Vandal and the Generous Ents.
Yeah,
maybe space is tight. I don't know.
I always find that the Mass Vandal Generous Ent package always overperformed when I've played it in the past. You sort of look at this top 8 and there's a lot of, like, you could just turn to Mass Vandal and it would do a lot of work. The Red Black Madness, for example, or the Jund Wildfire, or the Grixis Affinity. If you just cycle into Mass Vandal, or Mana Dork into cycle Mass Vandal, you put them really far behind.
Yeah, and that's kind of my thought as well. Like, I wonder if you really need 10 draw spells, even just to sort of capitalize on. Like, you can cut a land here and just go more. Like, even if you go 3/3, for example, you only need to find 2 melodies, a land, and then 1 other thing, and you sort of got your 4 spaces.
Yeah. Yeah, I think for me, I've always thought the mono green, the more recent mono green list looks like the better way to play it. Obviously, Birch Lawn Sentinels are a lot slower. And there's not that much mono blue Fae at the moment, so Sentinel doesn't even get like the extra bonus of just being an absolute unit against that deck. So yeah, just having the extra speed, especially if you're on 4 Vanguards. I think I would rather be on the mono green package with 4 Vanguards.
Yeah. Like, I don't hate the coloured sideboard cards. I just don't think... I think mono green main decks are probably where it needs to be, personally.
Yeah. A lot of the time as well, like, if you've played Elves, you'll have had a lot of games where you draw your red Elemental Blast, or your blue Elemental Blast, or you Dispel or whatever, and then you just don't have the mana to cast it, because you've got the green half of your deck.
Yeah.
There's been so many games where, like, I've killed someone and then they went, oh yeah, I've got my red Elemental Blast, I just can't cast them.
Yeah.
So it is always a tough one. It's a lot nicer when you can just cast your spells when you want to.
I do like the idea, though, of Elvish Vanguard being back in the deck. It's definitely an interesting one, a good way of closing the game out pretty quickly. Like, in Elves, you've got the Timberwatch Elf, and then if your Priest of Titania survives, you've got Nyxborn Hydra. Well, at least Elvish Vanguard gives you that less reliant on Priest of Titania, which is sort of thing that, like... it even gives use to Nyxborn Hydra if you don't have a Priest of Titania as well. Literally just paying 2 to... I've done that more times than I'd care to admit, to be fair. Bestow a Nyxborn Hydra on something just to give it trample.
Yeah.
So...
There's... removal-wise as well, there's a lot less just hard removal at the moment. There's a lot less like gardens with cast downs and stuff.
Yeah.
And it's a lot more like burn, crackle, and shaman heavy. So just having a guy that you can just outscale all that with if they don't have it then and there. It ends games.
Yeah, for sure. Always nice to see Elves just change it up, and it's still got room to flex, and it's not just here's the 75. This is what you've got to play. Always nice. Anything else to add?
Not from me. I don't know if you've got out.
Just want to shout out Campo in 10th. Congrats on the 10th place with Familiars. Familiars is another deck that gets a big shake-up with this Cryogen Relic, so it'll be interesting to see how it develops moving forward. I've seen that there's a lot of discussion in the FAM's Discord itself about how the deck's going to look. So I'm pretty excited to see that.
Are we going 0 Ephemerate, 4 Ghostly Flickers?
It'd be interesting to see if they do, to be fair, because both cards are pretty good. Even like if you cut like cutting Modern Age and Deep Analysis and stuff, or how you gonna the deck to look like. Does the Meter Minds version still exist if you're playing Cryogen Relic? Yeah, it's pretty interesting for sure. But shout out to Camo, obviously, master of all these Flicker piles, because he always plays Flickertron or FAMs. So they have definitely got their lane for sure. Moving on to Saturday?
Yeah, so Saturday the 26th, 54 players. First place, Hydide. Second place, Blue Black Terror. Third is Ponza. Fourth is Gardens. Fifth is Rakdos Madness. Sixth is Mono Red Madness. Seventh is Black Green Fog. And eighth is Blue Red Scred. And then the 2 near misses. Ninth is Altalus Tron. Fucking heinous deck. And 10th is Elves. Sorry, I couldn't hold myself back there. Some pretty spicy ones, to be fair, in this top 8 compared to the Friday. A lot more sort of decks you're like, oh, I forgot that existed. Blue Black Terror being the first sort of standout for me. Obviously was a huge mainstay of the format for a long time, and then basically just disappeared, and you'd occasionally see it played like once every 10 challenges or something. Back again, and still just the same, like looking completely unchanged from what it used to be.
Pretty much.
Yeah, I don't even know how much to really comment on this, because it's literally just if you looked at a Blue Black Terror list from 2 years ago, 3 years ago, it would probably look like this.
Yeah, the main deck definitely would not be that far apart for sure. I guess you're used to seeing why have I forgot the name? the grinder who's always on blue-black. I feel like they're in tomorrow's Sunday's challenge. Or Daniel, that's the person I was thinking of, who always plays blue-black. I guess the only difference is really is it Falaji? They run like a 1 or 2 Falages. That's like, because they're literally just running the 8 creatures here, the 4 Gurmags, 4 Terrors.
Yeah, there's no crawl as well. Like there's a few like tech pieces not there.
But generally the list is still, as close to as normal as you expect it. Brainstorms, cast downs, mental notes, dot goers.
Yeah, when did Lord of the Rings come out? 2023?
Was it really that
Something
long
like
ago?
that.
Jesus.
Since then, I think this list will have basically looked exactly like this.
Yeah.
But yeah, cool to see it back. Obviously, nice to have a bit of variation from the Terror, because Mono Blue's pretty set at the moment in this is the Mono Blue list, and everyone's just jamming the same list. So cool to see a bit of spice.
Do you remember when you used to have variety and it was like literally like, oh, is it mono blue, is it blue red, or is it blue black? And now it's just like it's always mono blue, and then you like rarely see a blue red and blue black.
Or even like the variations in the mono blue where they had like that modern age version and the snacker version. But yeah, now this is the best mono blue list. We will play this list.
Yes. Only thing it mentioned to me is they are 3 still sabotage, 1 a null. That seems to be becoming very common right now as a way to just blow out wildfire decks. Yeah, as well. And null obviously is just a great card in general, but obviously still sabotage being able to bounce those artifact lands is pretty strong, especially in response to a cleanse on wildfire.
Yeah, that's pretty brutal.
So pretty sweet to see that development. But other than that, literally is blue black. Ponza in 3rd, Ixodor back again with actual factual Ponza.
Yeah, again, we're sort of... It's fairly... It's obviously got Chrysalis and Repurposer. But other than that, it's like pretty old school Ponza. Same numbers for Sprawl, free growth. Got your actual Altasaurs in, boarding parties in, Hunters in, and then your 8 Ponza effects as well.
Yeah, how I imagine this is probably, it looks similar to the Pauper at when Writhing Chrysalis was released. There was a lot of like red-green Ponza decks dotting around because they basically just jammed Writhing Chrysalis and Repurpose it in their red-green Ponza decks. I imagine that this is probably pretty close to how it would look. But yeah, as you say, 4 Altasaurs, 4 boarding parties. I always do love to see the 3 Rumbles, 8 Ponza effects in my deck. Just makes that sweet spot of look at me whiff on my Rumble, but yeah.
Yeah, it's a cool one. It's, again, cool to see Altasaur just getting some airtime again. It had basically been permanently cut from the red-green decks. I guess sort of the way this is built, like you've obviously lost the extra wild growth, but you've got Repurpose, so you've got Chrysalis, you've got Rumbles. You maybe just save them up a bit to cast these bigger bombs.
What I've just realised, and I find interesting, is they've cut Jewel Thief entirely. So there's no Jewel Thief in this list, and they've went on Repurposer. Like, obviously, Repurposer grows Chrysalis, and obviously if it dies, it gets another guy, so it's sort of like better ramp in that sense, but doesn't do much colour fixing, but I guess, do you need the colour fixing? I don't know. With the acid mosses?
Yeah, true. But yeah, it's basically Jewel Thief and all the land cyclers have gone. Like, there's no Oliphants, there's no Ents. Acid moss does do a lot of that work, but it's never the cleanest mana base, is it, Ponza? Like,
no.
You just get those hands where you've got Arbor Elf and a mountain. And nothing to go and get your forest, so.
Or even just like a wooded ridgeline and an Arbor Elf is awkward anyways. Yeah. So I really don't like the tap land, but it makes sense with the acid moss for sure. But yeah.
Sideboard wise, it's also like trying some techie bits out as well. Gorilla Shaman's back.
Woo!
Something we haven't seen in quite a while. A one-off Campfire as well is a sort of interesting inclusion in something like Ponza. I feel like you've got access to a lot better life gain. Like, you've got Weather the Storms, you've got Pulse of Marassa, you've got, I guess, Nile's Disciple and stuff like that you could be playing. I'm unsure why Campfire is the choice.
Is it like a double whammy? Like it's good at life gain and then good at shuffling with High Tide? Like do maybe High Tide players take out like the deep analysis compulsive research against Ponza maybe? I don't know. Something along them lines. But also in that same vein, your what's the word I'm trying to say? I forgot what I was going to say, to be honest. I've just lost it.
I feel like Campfire just doesn't work against High Tide though, right? Because they just tap it.
Yeah, they tap it, but if they take out the deep analysis compulsive research, they'd basically just pass the turn to make you draw no deck.
Oh, right, okay, yeah.
So I don't know if they end up but it's also the same thing as, this is a deck you probably really rely on Giga Draws for, so then it's sort of like, kind of have to feature them. If they haven't taken out that deep analysis compulsive research thing, it is kind of basically pointless. So I don't know, but I'm assuming that maybe what it's for, like a good halfway house of constant life game plus also shuffle.
Yeah, interesting.
The fourth plate noob on Gardens is pretty cool to see again. Obviously, he made a comeback when we took a break for a week. That just did an absolute tear with Gardens over 2 challenges and then sort of like never been seen again. But back again here with just a pile of draw spells and pile of removal. Which is pretty interesting.
I feel like it's a weird one, Gardens, at the moment, because it just has some completely unwinnable matchups that are like not uncommon to come across. Like, I feel like if you're just pairing High Tide, you just concede, right?
Yep, pretty much.
Yeah, it's very, very polarized right now. It's got some extremely good matchups, but a lot of really bad matchups.
I do think there's a chance that it does get the problem is with High Tide, you rely very heavily on finding your bomb early, but then also post board finding your last rights early. So you basically want to rip their hand apart, keep your bomb, and then just hit your land drops and cast a bomb and attack. Like that sort of makes like a good winnable strategy. But I
don't really have bombs though.
Well, I say bombs. They've got 4. 1 Avenging Hunter.
An Avenging Hunter.
Yeah, and 3 Trolls. Trolls your finisher.
But you're not casting Troll early.
No. But if they've got no hand, you have time. You hit 3 lands after you've cast your last rights.
Yeah.
But I think it potentially has the option to get slightly better because of the new discard spell in this sort of style of deck where you have that early disruption that you can hit anything. Like, hitting anything is pretty key. Like, obviously, it doesn't have to be like a duress. And then you can follow that up with last rights and then follow that up with a bomb. So it makes it more seem in my head a lot better, but maybe I'm just on copium. I don't know. I have no idea. Yeah, pretty sweet to see. It's a kind of weird one, right? Because I think Titan Blade's at a really strange place right now where it's actually not the worst. Because Writhing Chrysalis is sort of on a downward trend. Everyone on the Jund Wildfire train sort of died down. It's not every man and the dog on it. It's just the hard Jund Wildfire flag bearers. Like, wee, it's the best deck. There's only them people left. So you've kind of got, they're the only Writhing Chrysalis deck, in effect. So it kind of makes Titan Blade pretty reasonable right now. Which is interesting.
The only other thing I wanted to touch on was, once again, elves in 10th. Very different list to the one we just spoke about. This is the full-on mono-green list. So back up on Landwire Alpha effects. It's also got 4 Saga Wildlings in the main. And 13 forests. Sort of an interesting slot. That's basically instead of the Generous End. But it's still playing 4 Mass Vandals. So I'm not sure how well that works, because obviously you don't get the Saga Wildling doesn't go to the graveyard.
Yeah.
So you can't do the turn 2 Mass Vandals, but Mass Vandals very much a like mid-game play. Which always seems like you lose a lot of its upside.
Definitely. Is there some like strange math thing with lead the Stampede and Wine away if you keep shuffling and wilding? Like, does it just...
it just doesn't it?
Yeah. Does it... Yeah, but is it significantly better that it justifies making your Mass Vandals infinitely worse, is what I'm trying to say.
I wouldn't have thought so.
I wouldn't have thought so either, but yeah.
Yeah, obviously you're getting a land out, but not and putting a creature back in where Generous Emp would just get the land out.
You gain 3.
You've not got that many whiffs anyway. You've got the 8 draw spells and then 13 lands. So assuming you've got a couple to 3 lands in play, and one of the effects in your hand, you're only on like 19 whiffs in your entire deck anyway. But
other thing I can think of is Crackland Shaman. It flies.
Yeah, I mean it's a fine guy. Like it's a solid body. The flying is relevant. The gain life is relevant. Even the shuffling in is good because you can redraw it. You've got your leader stampedes and stuff. They're literally the only downside really is that it doesn't trigger your mass vandals. If that was the case, like for me, I would be cutting the mass vandals and just playing Vanguard and just being okay. I don't have the mass vandal out in my main deck, but I don't really have it anywhere because I've cut the ents. So I may as well just go a lot harder and just try and kill them quicker.
Yeah, it is definitely a strange one because obviously as we've said previously, like the overperforming on the mass vandal is usually the strength in the deck, like especially against. I've found in Crackland Shamans generally, like the best way is just mass vandal the red source. Like it's quite hard for a lot of these decks to just instantly have an untapped red source, unless you're obviously on like Mog's list that we spoke about earlier with the 4 untapped Great Furnace. It is pretty hard. Like a lot of the Jund Wildfire players have to think that you're going to mass vandal it, search for this mountain. Grixis doesn't really have that option to do that. They just play a bunch of tapped red lands, so it is interesting that's why they've went down the Sagu Wildling route, because I do think the upside of mass vandal is pretty good. But
yeah, also on 4 Well-Wishers in the main, so along with the 4 Sagu Wildlings, got quite a lot of just extra life gain. Sideboard is also trying a lot of new stuff for Heritage Reclamation, like just full 4-0, which is something we haven't really seen. We've seen like one-offs in the Tron decks, but we've never really seen any other deck commit to it. Alongside that, 4 Pulse of Marasa is like the life gain slot. Over like the Nihilia's Disciple. I don't know if you need Pulse of Marasa when you've already got 4 Well-Wishers and 4 Saga Wildlings in your main deck. Also 4 Vitugazi Inspector in the sideboard, which also sort of is the life gain as well, not as much, but very good against like Fae. But then 3 Scattershot Archers to just completely double down on this Fae package. Very, very interesting sideboard.
I feel like a lot of this sideboard like makes less sense now the Sagu Wildling's there instead of the Ent, right? Like the Pulse Ent.
The Vitugazi Inspector looks awful.
The Pulse looks also slightly worse because there's a lot of the strength coming, obviously, Ent plus Pulse. Like Pulse doubles up as obviously another graveyard hit spell with Spy as well, in a weird way. Compared to Heritage Reclamation. So I kind of like, I don't mind the 8 graveyard spell.
The target the troll and you just give them it back. Yeah. They're giant, sorry. So
if they can't cast it, which in some decks they can't, like they don't run Crawl for Songs of the Damned and stuff. But then it doubles up as like aggro life game where you get, as you say, that Ent plus Pulse. You very like the Vitugazi Inspector and the Pulse, you sort of end up relying on them killing a bunch of guys in like the mono red sort of matchup to then trigger them, which then makes them really. It's like you're sort of making your own blue elemental blast in that sense, where you were saying earlier, like you can have a Beb and you just can't cast it. Like these 2 green cards could probably end up just I have a Pulse, but I can't cast it because, well, I've got nothing.
Especially the Inspector, it very much benefits from the same Mass Vandal turn 2 option.
Yeah.
Like cycle end turn 1, do it turn 2, where it just loses that completely. And it's a lot less potent on like turn 4, turn 5 than it is on turn 2.
Yeah.
I do really like the 4 Heritage Reclamation though. That's one thing I'm interested in trying in this sideboard. Like it's a lot of sideboard cards in one card. Yeah. So it gives you a lot of space to do other stuff with your sideboard. like you say, it's an option for spy. It gives you option for bogles. It gives you option for affinity. There's a lot to it. And at the end of the day, you can basically just cycle it.
Yeah. I think my only downside for Reclamation is obviously the fact that it is destroy. Like, a big pull for me in the mono green, obviously, is you basically turn into this Ponza deck with the Mass Vandals and the Glamours. That's my only downside. But if that's on a downward trend, like Jund Wildfire is sort of on a downward trend, I can definitely get behind this Reclamation for sure. Anything else to add for the 10th place Elves list?
No, I think that's it.
There was... What was the other... Oh, I just want to shout out, obviously, Niederschatten, double top 8s. Came first on Friday with Galv Blast, Red Black Madness. And then again today here with some Galv Blasting Red Black Madness. It's pretty sweet to see. Do you want to move on to Sunday?
Yeah. So Sunday the 27th, 68 players, obviously good turnout as always. First place, Jund Wildfire. Second place, High Tide. Third, Mono Blue Terror. Fourth, Blue Black Terror, back again. Fifth, Mono Red Synth. Sixth, High Tide. Seventh, Mono Red Madness. And eighth, another copy of Jund Wildfire. And then the two near misses. Ninth was Wall Spy. And 10th was a third copy of Jund Wildfire. I heard you say it was dying down and they're all back. I guess in terms of the first place Jund Wildfire list, there's nothing particularly spicy going on. They've went really hard on the Crackland Shamans and Toxins, which sort of makes some sense, but sort of makes no sense at the same time when you look at the previous results. Like, there's a decent bit of Terror and stuff like Elves, but then there's also just a lot of like Madness and Flickertron, Gardens, Fog, Altlustron, like all the decks that just do not care about that card. High Tide, there's a lot of High Tide. So it's a weird one. It's a very 50-50 sort of choice. I feel like they've just seen the large amount of Mono Blue Terror that's about at the moment and probably committed to it for that reason. Because three Toxins is a lot for these decks to play.
I would like to talk about the interesting card in the sideboard.
Yeah, sure. Is it another Toxin analysis? Because there's a fourth one there.
No.
Just in case. And the fourth Crackland Shaman in case you need 4 and 4.
There's 4 Vampire Link in the sideboard.
Yeah, Vampiric Link, yeah.
Oh, sorry, Vampiric Link, sorry. The Spirit Link, that's black.
To go on your 4 Crackland Shamans.
Ah, right. Is that what it is? So it's not for chipping in for 2 with your refurbs then? Is that not what
thought so.
No, damn.
You can also put it on a Terror.
Yes. That's it's something you can do.
Yeah, it's a weird one. I believe you can put it on Crackland Shamans, right? Because it remembers, like when you put the triggers on the stack, it remembers its stats. So even though it dies off the first one, I think the other triggers like still say gain life.
But it's not life gain, is it? Is it life gain now? Or is it Spirit Link?
It's Spirit Link, yeah. It's when it deals damage, you gain that much life. But I think that's like remembered.
Is it?
I could be wrong. Pass. Is it not last information?
I think if it was lifelink, it would be, right. I genuinely don't know this question. I feel like if it's lifelink, it would remember because it remembers it's gone to the graveyard. The abilities on the stand, it'll remember it has lifelink, but it doesn't have lifelink. It has when this enchantment deals damage, you gain that much life. When this enchanted creature, so I don't know.
I'm not sure. Obviously, Toxin works with lifelink, so lifelink works, but.
That's what I mean, and I know an actual stat, like a mechanic would work, but it's not a mechanic. It's just a bunch of words on an enchantment that's in the bin. So I don't know. That is but even still, right? That's 8 Toxin. If that does work, that's 8 Toxin effects
for the life gain side, yeah.
For the life gain side, yeah. That's why. But then you've also got. Is there a card that you want to negate its existence from dealing damage, that...
Yeah, so it does work.
It does work.
Yeah. It's basically last known information.
Right. That's so interesting. Like, why? Like, I'm trying...
But it is a ridiculous amount of Crackland cards, basically, in this deck.
Is it for opposing Cracklands?
What, you put it on there? They're not just kill it in response.
No, but you, like, what I'm saying is you gain the life, right, from their thing. So it's like, I'm guessing that's what I'm saying. Like, it's like, they play a Crackland early,
surely
and then you
they
just
won't
go...
let you put it on theirs.
Yeah, well,
Then it's just the file.
Like, it's so odd. It's just, like, I'm trying to figure out, like, why this card is in the side. Because I'm, like, to me, it's sort of like a weird removal spell, right? As you say, you can put it on a terror, so it sort of negates the terror as long as you're not on 5. So then, if
you can put it on a Chrysalis and just get a bajillion life.
That's what I mean. Like,
it just feels like this deck is absolutely terrified of the burn decks, basically.
Yeah. But then why not just play, like, Unexpected Fangs? Sure, that's just better than Vampiric Link, right? That's permanent, isn't it?
Cost 2. That's no.
Do you know what I mean? Like, the more I think about this card, like,
you can't put it on a terror. You can't put it on their guy. This is like both modes. It's like a pacifism-ish and a life gain.
I'm not sold.
And sort of works on Crackland.
I'm not.
No,
sold.
I'm not sold at all. It looks awful. But so does 4 Crackland, 4 Toxin Analysis in the 75.
Like, yeah, but that's what I mean. If you're committed to that, right, like, that's fine. But then you're just like, here's 4 Vampiric Link as well. And then, as you say, if you're putting on a terror, if you're losing a terror with your 4 Crackland, 4 Toxin Analysis in your 75, there's something wrong with you. Pick a different deck. But, I don't know. What the heck? And it's not even lifelink either, as you said. So, like, you could literally attack and they kill you in response to the damage thing. I don't know, man.
You could put it on a
Got a snipe.
Opponent's Flame Breather or got a snipe, yeah. But then the either don't let you do that or they just kill it.
Yeah.
Like they don't play it at a speed which you're able to interact with a sorcery. Or then if you play it, they just kill it themselves. It's like a discard and a removal spell.
But then also, the, like, gutter snipey sort of decks now are, like, so hard on instance. There's, like, 4 highway robbery, 4 grabs. So literally you could just go...
Yeah, you just completely set up before you play your gutter snipe, don't you? It's like...
Like, you could literally just go gutter snipe, I will cast my sorcery, deal 2, or the gain life triggers on the stack. I'll throw a bunch of instants at you.
Yeah. Well, yeah, true, because it's just a trigger, isn't it?
It's just a trigger. They could have, like, 16 levels of Vampiric Link on the stack.
Yeah, assuming you've got... Yeah, you're right, yeah.
They literally could just Lava Dart, Bolt, Fire Blast your face, and then just wait till the Vampiric Link's on the stack and just keep going.
Yeah, that's pass. There's a lot of outs for it, but they all just seem pass.
It's like, this card's really good in this situation, this situation, this situation, this situation, but it's all really mid in those situations. It's like got loads of uses, but it's just a bad use in all of them. Yeah, I'm not sold on this card at all.
But one thing it did do was get us to talk about Druid Wildfire, which we never normally do.
Yeah, so that is true. Yeah, that is one way I want to play Vampiric Link in the deck.
The only other standout for me is that there's no Hydra, Nyxborn Hydra, which is quite funny when you're playing 8 Toxin Analysis and 4 Vampiric Link. Yeah. I thought you would want a big guy or a guy to give you a Chrysalis Trample when it's also got, like, Depth Touch Lifelink.
Mm.
But apparently not.
Apparently not. No, nothing else too exciting. They've changed the Crypt Incursion to a second Pulsar Marassa. There's another semi-notable thing, I guess. They've changed a bad card to a mid card and they've moved on with the day.
Can we move on from Jund Wildfire now?
I was going to say, interestingly enough, the second place list, which I don't understand how, they must have split, right? For this order to come in this way.
That Jund Wildfire has never beaten this list.
Jund Wildfire, anyways, is not beating this list. Not Jund Wildfire list with 3 Duresses in the for for second place, High Tide, they're playing the Petals of Insight out. They're playing a Toils of Night and Day as well, which I'm not surprised that since how many people have been high on Hidden Strings, it's sort of similar-ish. That's an arcane spell.
But only one Hidden Strings.
But only one Hidden Strings. And they're on 2 pieces of the puzzle, which is fairly stock right now, I would say. But pretty sweet. Please remove this brainstorm art. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, the weird Final Fantasy brainstorm is definitely off-putting.
Yeah.
Toils of Night and Day, though, is a cool one to see. It's like, especially once you splice onto it, are ridiculous hidden strings. Also, being an instant gives you that out to just like double tap their guys or their lands, even if you need to, because it is a permanent, and you can target anyone's. It doesn't have to be yours. It's
also a it's merchant scrollable, right? So it's like a merchant scrollable hidden strings, which is pretty nice.
That is arcane. That is instant. Yeah, it's very cool. Obviously cost free, so it's a lot harder to cast if you're really tight on mana, but when you're going off, it'll just put you over the top on mana, basically.
Yeah. I really liked Night and Day as well. When High Tide first got unbanned, I jammed 2 of these in there, and I was pretty impressed with it, to be fair. That was pretty sweet. Anything else before we move on?
Thought of everything else is fairly stock, I guess. Adapters, 7th place, Mana Spurn is still interesting. It's less interesting than his list last week, because he's basically just got his list from last week and made it a bit more normal. I believe there's a Sadcap Brew and a Mountain being cut from his last week's list for 2 Lutons.
Yeah, went full hard on the Fire Blast Gutter Snipe sort of blowout. 19 lands sort of makes sense if you're just going to sack a bunch of lands with Fire Blast and Lava Dart, I guess. But yeah, definitely the 11 draw spells plus 2 Lutons as well, which are sort of draw spells as well. It's pretty hard on that, and it seems pretty good. I think I'm a lot higher on Sazcap's Brew than I thought I was, to be fair. But I don't know if I'd play it in this particular list.
Yeah, I always find it's odd that obviously you've cut the Epicures for the Sazcap Brew, because the Epicures really give you the out to turn it into a grab the prize, because you can get that +2 +4 on it and attack, which an extra 2 damage is pretty relevant.
I guess my only thought there is it depends on, like, obviously, I guess it depends on how you play this deck. But as we were saying before we recorded, we play this very much like a mid-rangey sort of control-y deck. So, like, getting in a lot of chip damage. If we're getting in a lot of chip damage, obviously, with the Epicure, and then you give it +2, so you give them a blocker as well for the Epicure. So, like, if you have to time, I guess there's that, like, thing where you may have to time it right, where your +2 is fine if you're going to obviously kill them that turn or kill them in the next turn. But you sort of lose your Epicure chip damage if you just sort of churning, if you know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, but you've got, obviously it's a blocker for the next turn. It's not a blocker for that turn.
Yeah.
Because it comes in tapped, but you also get the extra 2 damage. So it's like you've already got a bonus on that damage anyway. Like, how much more were you going to get in?
Yeah. It's like, but it is like this sort of, like, if you're obviously just planning on attacking for 1 for the next 4 turns at the moment with the way. Do you know what I mean? You got to balance it there somewhere, but I still don't think I still do agree with you that I think Epicure is definitely worthwhile in like a Sazcap's Brew pile, for sure.
The only other downside to it is the same as Grab the Prize, right? Where it's an additional cost. So if it gets countered, you sort of get shafted, where Highway Robbery is basically the GOAT and you just never have any downside. Yeah.
On a side note, I think if anyone hasn't seen the Spider-Man spoilers, there's a new 2-mana discard draw 2 as well from Spider-Man. Just a thought there, which is slightly different worded as well, where you can, if you have no cards in hand, you just draw 2 cards, which is pretty interesting. So it's similar to Highway Robbery, like triggers on resolution, so you don't discard as part of a cost. Yeah. But then also,
but it doesn't say if you do.
Yeah, it just says discard a card, draw 2. So if you have no card, if you top deck it, you draw 2. It's just 2 and a
Yeah, that's pretty good.
So again, another balancing act of 2-mana draw 2s for this deck is pretty sweet. You've also got Melded Moxite if you want to add that to the pile of new cards from Edge of Eternity as well. In case you need that tapped robot. Anything else you want to touch on?
Not for me. I don't know if you want to talk about the walls list or not.
The Spy Walls list in 9th is not... It's not massively out there. There's sort of like these weird flex slots right now, right? Where do they play like 4 lands or... do they play 5 or 4 lands? Do they play petals? Do they not play petals? Do they play... how many tech cards do they play in the main? Like your Mass Vandals, your Mezfiends, your Axebanes, which is interesting to me, is even up for grabs of a flex slot, which I guess when your deck is base green, Overgrown Battlements being an 0-4 that can't be bolted is pretty real and is generally the quote-unquote better mana dork for them. Wall of Roots is up there as well for cards that are in and out of the deck. So it's definitely a solid... It's a fairly-ish stock list. They're playing 2 Mezfiends, 3 Mass Vandals. They're playing no Wall of Roots. They're playing no... Is it Demir Houseguard? Is that the name of the card? The Transmute guy?
Yeah.
They're playing 2 Trolls, 4 Wildlings, and 4 Ents, I'm assuming. Yeah, 4 Ents, and then the standard 4 Land Grants. They've still got double comboing, so 2 Lot Lifts, 2 Dread Returns. They're playing an Acorn Harvest, which is a way of dealing with... What's the name of the card? Crackling Shaman.
Removal.
And a 1 of Elven Farsight. Some of them run like 3 Elven Farsight, some of them run like 0. I'm not the biggest fan of the card, personally, but yeah, the deck's definitely up in the air. It's definitely one of the fastest ways, especially the 4 lands with the petals, is definitely one of the fastest ways to combo, because you have less lands to pull out your deck, and you still have the mass amount of mana you can produce with Wall of Roots, Overgrown Battlements, Axebane Guardian, all that sort of stuff. Yeah, I think it's pretty interesting. I do like the Mass Vandal and Mezfiend in the main. If you have the space to do so, I do like having a mix of both, because sometimes you need a mix of both.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the Walls Spy deck is pretty sweet. I think it's a lot, not as scary as people think. It's definitely easy-ish to hit out. Like, the backup plan of casting bombs only goes so far. So... yeah, I think it's a sweet deck to have in the format, to be honest. I'm a big lover of Spy in general. I really like Spy decks. For sure. That's it. That's all I got.
Move on to hot takes from last week.
Yeah, happy to do so.
So the first listener hot take is one that is sort of stapled to the top, because it's Esper Flicker will top 8 within a month of Edge of Eternities release. That's from C-Pain. So that's stable to the top, and we will check every time we see a top 8 and see if there's an Esper Flicker there.
Be interesting to see, obviously, with the new Relic, which is, I'm assuming, the main reason why we're talking about this. But yeah, I'm excited. Hopefully, Edge of Eternities gives us a good spice up, for sure. The next listener hot take was from Desis Terra, is that Core Gates will not top 8 any of the challenges. And well done, that did happen. There was no Core Gates in the challenges. There was one in that, weirdly, there was one came second in that IPT we were talking about, with the normal Drifter Flickertron, which was Mavani, so shout out to them. But yeah, it did not happen in the Magic Online challenges.
I always think it's funny, like, Core Gates wins like a major tournament, and then no one plays it. Or it'll like win a challenge, and then no one will play it.
Yep. It's a strange one, right? You just literally, the play patterns just aren't that exciting, I guess.
No. I had doubled down on the death of Jund Wildfire for my hot take, which did not occur. So mine was that we would see 3 top 8s without a copy of Jund Wildfire. I was hoping that would be the case. It definitely wasn't. But we did get a Jund Wildfire that we could talk about, because it was so weird.
Yeah. The resilience of the Jund Wildfire Braveheart players were too strong. My hot take didn't happen at all either. To be fair, none of it happened even. The Elf Spy will take over the Wall Spy popularity next week. That did not happen. Yeah. It didn't even, like, Wall Spy didn't even get popular. Like, it just fell off the face from considering last week it was doing really well. Yeah. Moving on to hot takes for next week.
The first one is from Jack, and it's that High Tide will take down I'm assuming the New York Upstate Pauper Open.
Yep.
Or Upstate New York Pauper Open.
Yep. I don't know why they've called it the NYPO, but...
Which is next Saturday, so we won't see that next podcast, but we'll see it the podcast after.
Mm-hmm. The next one for us is for the listener, is from Phil. And it said the first August weekend, i.e. next weekend, we will have at least one Edge of Eternities card in 50% of all challenge top 8 decks, which is definitely hopeful. I hope for the case for sure.
Yeah, it's a high bar to clear to have it in that many decks when there's so many like just uber consistent like static lists at the moment, like Terra, like on a blue Terra, for example. But yeah, there's a lot of spice coming out in EOE, so fingers crossed. Although sort of along the same lines, my hot take for next week is that we will see a white weenie with Lux Knight in the top 10 of one of the challenges. Even just one. I'll take one Lux Knight.
All that glitters is back on a 4-mana Abyss. Let's go. I'm excited. I hope so. But let's be honest. As I said to you before we start recording, the most stubborn players, almost the most stubborn players, are white weenie players. They like their lists.
It's all right, white weenie players. Message me. I'll give you a list. You'll win.
Trust. Never mind J-Waves. Just listen to Reese. My hot take is that mono black sack will top 4.
Top 4 as well.
Yeah, I'm going in. This is where Strata plays with Temporal Intervention and top 8. This is what's going to happen. But yeah, basically I think mono black sack top 4. I think it's at the moment from initial playing, like I've literally played like 3 games with the deck. It seems like the best Temporal Intervention deck. They just slots right in. Temporal Intervention is really good in that deck. Yeah,
it's definitely the one that's set up to just be able to cast it for 1 every single turn, essentially.
Yeah, for sure.
Which is what you want to be doing with that card, really.
Mm-hmm. For those that don't know, the Temporal Intervention is the Void Thoughtseize card that costs 3, but costs 1 if non-land permanent left.
Yeah.
Just for clarity. Anything else to add in this EOE waiting room episode?
Yeah, just excited for next week. See what the challenges bring. See what EOE brings.
Very, very hyped. Thank you all, guys, for your continued support. If you have enjoyed this podcast, please do not forget to share it with your friends, your family, your local Pauper community, and even your tournament organisers. Always be nice to those. Those people keep your events firing. That is all from us at Cast and Comments. Until next time, and don't forget to stay hydrated. Peace!
Bye.